Hey, good morning, everyone. Hopefully, you can hear me. We're up on Facebook, the Nathan Ivey Show on Facebook, and also we're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please take a minute today, if not this morning, and follow the show. Good morning to you. On today's show, I want to talk about numerous things. At the top of the list, I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about the Hamilton County Prosecutor's race. You know, I was your moderator last night for the NAACP Prince Hall Masons Your Voice Matters Town Hall series. Of course, we'll be kicking it off again tonight at 6 p.m. Looking forward to it. I have some brutally honest thoughts that I want to share with you and observations I want to share with you this morning. I also want to talk about Tyler Perry. It's being publicized and reported in the media, most notably by Forbes, that Tyler Perry has earned over $1 billion since 2005, which begs this conversation, in my opinion, because point of fact, Tyler Perry made $1 billion wearing a dress. Do the ends justify the means? What is the moral of this story? I bring this up because I heard a lot of people criticizing Tyler Perry over the years. Why this black man got to wear a dress? They always got us wearing a dress. Here we go again with this dress. They're trying to feminize black men. But in my opinion, Tyler Perry wore a dress straight to becoming the next black billionaire. So was it worth it? Do the ends justify the means is what I'm trying to get at. Good morning to you. Hey, listen, I want to give you a second to like and in particular share today's show. Your shares mean everything. Please take a second to like and share today's show. I'll give you just a minute here, and then I want to get the show started. Also want to give you a heads up that today's show is not being streamed via audio this morning. Again, I have not abandoned it, but I've got to get a new mixer, and until I do, it's just not going to work out. So hopefully we'll be backing up sometime this week, at the very least on Monday. But we are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube, and hopefully you can hear me this morning. Give me a thumbs up if everything's working good. Things seems like it is. I see Kendall, a lot of people on YouTube this morning. Appreciate you. Good morning to you. And ponder this again. I want to ask it out there again. I want to put the question out again. Again, Tyler Perry made $1 billion wearing a dress. Do the ends justify the means? What is the moral of his story? Like I said, I heard a lot of people criticizing him. I heard a lot of people criticizing him, like, you know what? Hey, you know, why does Hollywood always making us wear dresses? They trying to feminize the black man. They trying to put out these soft images of black men. They trying to make you gay. They want you to wear a dress. Criticism, criticism, criticism. Then Tyler Perry's able to leverage the success of Madea, right? And he turned it into a $1 billion franchise. Everybody loved it when Tyler Perry opened the Tyler Perry Studios. We all sat in awe, looking at our TV screens as we saw big time A-list celebrities show up, right? And since then, he has some major movies, like the Star Wars franchise has used his studios. That was a boss move. And in my opinion, he was able to make that move because of what Madea, the Madea franchise brought him. So do we need to rethink our thinking? Or does being a billionaire, or does it, so what? He's a billionaire. What does that really mean for the larger community? So what? That's the other side of it. Hey, Lisa writes, good morning, liked and shared on Facebook. Thank you so much. It means everything. It means everything. Like straight up, more people see the show when more people share the show. That's just how it works. Good morning to you. Also, some brutally honest thoughts from last night's My Vote Matters 2020 virtual town hall. Last night, we focused on the Hamilton County Prosecutor's race, which is so big. It's so big. It's so big. And Rucker is the Democrat challenger, and Joe Dieters is the incumbent Republican. What do you make out of the fact that Joe Dieters didn't show last night? What does that mean to you, if anything? What does that say to you about Joe Dieters, if anything? You might be like, Nate, I didn't expect them to show up, so it means nothing. But I want to get your thoughts about it this morning. What do you think? Were you surprised to hear that Joe Dieters wasn't going to show? Was it par for the course? Give me your thoughts about it. 513-873-7134. I want to get your thoughts. Let me start right there. I want to start with some brutally honest thoughts about the Hamilton County prosecutor's race. Brutally honest. So it's a mixture of my thoughts about the impact of the upcoming race, my thoughts about the forum last night, my thoughts about Joe Dieters, my thoughts about Fanon Rucker. Okay. So let me say this, brutally honest, that I think that there's a real opportunity for change in Hamilton County with this election. And the reason why there's an opportunity is because this is a presidential election year. And typically when you have a presidential election year, that can be something that drives people to the polls. Brutally honest, whether Fanon wins or not, whether Joe wins or not, is going to come out to turnout. And if you're someone who believes that you want to see change from the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office, well, let me be brutally honest with you. You got an opportunity. Now, in my opinion, I think Fanon Rucker has a real shot for several reasons, not the least of which is because it's an election year and Trump is at the top of the ticket. And Trump is a polarizing figure that's going to push, pull, and drag people to the polls. That's why he's running around trying to mess with the post office and make it more difficult, because he understands that. He is a polarizing political figure. And he can potentially energize his base, but also the opposition's base. That would be the Democrat Party base. Here in Hamilton County, people keep talking about how the county is going more and more and more blue. Well, if that's true, and you also take the fact that we're dealing with an election year with a very polarizing figure, hey, that could be big things for Democrats in Hamilton County. But it all comes down to turnout, just being brutally honest with you. But there is an opportunity here. Brutally honest, my entire lifetime, my entire adult lifetime, I've always looked at the person in the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office and the office itself. It's not necessarily being for me and people that look like me. Just being brutally honest. My entire adult lifetime, I've never felt like, I had a friend down there, that there was a real ally for my community in the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. Okay. And that's just true. I don't know how you feel about it. You might feel the same way. You might say, Nate, I ain't feeling that. What you talking about, Nate? Okay, whatever. We can talk it up. We can chop it up this morning at 513-873-7134. Let's chop it up. It's the internet. Let's do it. Early morning talk. Brutally honest. Also being brutally honest, I think that if Fanon Rucker is going to win, it's going to take more than lip service and votes. I'll say it again. For Fanon Rucker to win, it's going to take more than lip service and votes. I see a lot of lip service out there. People saying, go Fanon, go Fanon, go Fanon, go Fanon. But I'm wondering, beyond that and voting, because the voting is ultimately the most important thing. But in my opinion, being brutally honest, for Fanon Rucker to win, it's going to take a grassroots effort that's beyond rhetoric and just voting, helping to mobilize people. It's going to take money. It's going to take volunteers. I mean, hell, what is this? September? You got September, October. You got 2 months. Where you at? You got 2 months. Because in the digital age, that means what? More digital marketing. That costs money. I think physical in-person canvassing in neighborhoods is still going on as well. That's very, very important as well. But it kind of changes the game a little bit. Just being brutally honest with you, it's going to take more than just lip service and votes. It's going to take for some people that are providing lip service and pledging their votes to get on board on his team if, in fact, you feel inclined to do so. Being brutally honest, even before the fact that Joe Dieters didn't show up, I don't really believe that the black community, the progressive community, right, has a friend in the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. I got many issues with the job that Joe Dieters has done. Okay, not the least of which are some things that have happened during COVID-19. But the whole Sam DuBose case revealed to me, who he really was, how effective he really is. And just his attitude, this whole, do as I say, I'm gonna lock him up. And if I was the governor, I would do this. I mean, this man at one point did an interview in which he said that if he was the governor, that he would send a National Guard to Price Hill, put armed National Guards, men and women, on the streets of Cincinnati in an effort to deal with the crime. And again, you might agree with that, you might disagree with that, but I only hear one song, from Joe Dieters. It's the same old law and order, law and order, law and order, law and order, law and order. And I get it. I think anyone who's going to be a prosecutor is going to be tough on crime. I don't care who it is. Anyone who becomes a Hamilton County prosecutor, like if Fernand Rucker becomes a Hamilton County prosecutor, he's not going to become weak on crime and let dope dealers and, people that are heinous criminals. Maybe dope dealers is a bad example. He's not going to let heinous and dangerous criminals run the streets. But that's what the other side, that's what the GOP and the 700 WOW crowd wants you to believe. I don't believe that one bit. I don't believe that. Whoever the prosecutor is going to do the job. If it's time to lock you up, they're going to lock you up. But I think we need progressive leadership. We need servant leadership from the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office, in my opinion. We need servant leadership. I sent a message to Joe Dieters via Twitter. Let me see. I'm not sure if I got a response. That was last night, to ask him why he didn't make it to the forum last night. I'm just curious. I'm not sure what he told the NAACP. They haven't relayed anything directly to me. Let me see here. They haven't relayed anything directly to me. Yeah, so I don't know if he's going to respond or not. But, listen, if it's a personal issue, I'll reiterate what I said last night. Because at the last moment, as I understand it, Joe Dieters, Hamilton County prosecutor, declined the invitation to sit down with the NAACP and the Prince Hall Masons, during the virtual town hall forum. There's a couple ways of reading it. To be fair, I don't know what's going on in his life. Maybe he had a family issue. He should say that. If it was a family issue, he should say that. At the very least, at this point, Joe Dieters owes us all a statement. Tell us why. And just saying you're going to decline doesn't tell us anything. We know you're going to decline because you're not there. You didn't show up. But why? Tell us why. Am I wrong in that? Am I asking for too much? If your grandkids were sick, tell us. If you were sick, tell us. If something came up that you forgot about, which, I'm less inclined to look favorably at that, then tell us. I think at the very least, the NAACP, the Prince Hall Masons, and all the many thousands of people who tuned in to that live stream and or are informed by those forums deserve that. You're the sitting Hamilton County prosecutor, man. Sometimes to me, Joe Dieters acts as if his only constituents are the people that like him. It's the 700 WOW crowd. And again, I'm seeing that same arrogance. There's a thread running through all the white males, right? The white male Republican candidates who, I've had the pleasure of either being involved with or they were supposed to be involved, as was Joe Dieters last night. Again, Joe, at the very least, we deserve an explanation. Why weren't you there last night? Was it politics? Could have been politics. Like, from a political standpoint, I guess sometimes the safest play is to not show up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Joe looks at it as if he had more to lose than to gain. Maybe that's how he looked at it. Or maybe he looked at it like, man, screw the NAACP and all the people that, are members of the NAACP. Screw the Prince Hall Masons. Who cares about their forum? Now, I don't know, because I know that the League of Women Voters did a forum and Joe Dieters was there. And that was moderated by a black female. I thought she did an excellent job. I can't remember the sister's name, but I thought she did an excellent job. And again, I always do my show prep. So I go back in any media you do going 2-3 years back, I'm looking at all of it in preparation. Any tweet you make, any statement you make on social media, I'm going back 2-3 years. I want to know who you are, not just who you are when you decided to run. Okay. So it makes you wonder. So he was willing to show up for the League of Women Voters, but not willing to show up for the NAACP. And I'll be honest with you. I think it says a lot. You can't get my vote if you can't even show up at a forum where my people are, talking about interests that matter to me. And so maybe that's the reason why Joe didn't show up, because maybe he's looking at it like, well, I'm not going to get any votes anyway, which again, I say to my Republican friends out there, you're making a huge mistake. It's disrespectful to the black community, the black electorate, and you are making a huge mistake. You're making a huge mistake. But again, I ain't trying to talk you into no wins because I don't believe in a lot of your platform. But I'm just going to tell you, y'all making a huge mistake by ignoring the black electorate here in Cincinnati and Hamilton County, making a huge mistake. But again, I haven't looked at the numbers. I'll be honest with you, because politics is sometimes a big game of numbers, right? The political sciences out there will look at the numbers and look at the trends, and maybe he decided, you know what, I'm not going to get that vote anyway, so why put myself into a situation where I might say something or my opponent might get a good shot in, and then I'm damaged after the forum. And the reason why I would say, even if you believe that, Joe, and that was your motivation for not showing up last night, because your absence spoke volumes. It spoke volumes last night. But the reason why I disagree with that line of thinking is because you're an elected official that's supposed to be representing everybody. You're supposed to be representing everybody. Going on a Lincoln Ware show every once in a while and keying and talking over Lincoln and talking ish and rolling out ain't enough, buddy. That ain't enough, buddy. Straight. But I know how things work in this city. People think, oh, I'm just going to jump on this show and I've talked to the black community. Negative, because not everybody listens to that show. Not everybody, people might have missed it. And there's a broader black electorate out there who want to hear from you. Period. But I know how the game is. I know the mentality. I see it over and over again. I'm here to disrupt all of that. We're going to disrupt all of that. More brutally honest thoughts. Let me switch to Fanon Rucker. And something that stood out to me last night, and I got to give Fanon props for this, is I felt that even though Joe Dieters wasn't there, his opponent wasn't there, I felt like, and tell me if you agree or disagree, but I felt like Fanon still brought the energy. I felt like he still brought his A game. I felt like he was still enthusiastic to answer every single question thoughtfully, right? And trying to, and I would expect, this is what I would expect from somebody that wants to be an elected official. I expect this, right? So it ain't like he was giving me something I don't expect. But I think in a situation where, you're doing a forum and up until maybe a few days before the forum, you think your opponent's going to be there, then they don't show up. Sometimes you can let the energy down. And I felt like he still brought his A game for the people that were viewing it. And I felt like he still approached it because he's been asking these questions and answering questions for months and months and months. He's doing a digital daily, weekly show. I mean, a lot of this stuff he had already went through before. I know for sure because I've watched it. And I still thought he brought the energy and tried to be genuine and authentic for the people that were experiencing it last night. Because I guarantee there were people watching last night for that forum who didn't watch the League of Women Voters. They ain't really been plugging into his weekly show. That might have been the first time. And that's what I would expect from somebody that wants to be an elected official. I would expect that from you. You know what I'm saying? That's what time it is. We deserve that. Black voters in Hamilton County deserve that kind of effort. You know what I'm saying? I appreciated that. You heard me say it last night many, many times, and that's where it was coming from. I appreciate it because sometimes the tendency can be just to let the energy down, you let your guard down, you know what I'm saying? But I still felt like he brought his energy and tried to bring, all of the thoughtfulness and the depth to each question and really tried to bring it. The only problem I had with Fanon was his webcam. Fanon, you listen, you got to invest in a better webcam, bro. If you're going to do this digital thing, I can make some simple suggestions. $60, $80, $100, depending on how much you want to spend. Get yourself a better webcam because it's just going to present better. You know what I'm saying? In the digital world, you want to make sure that people can see you and hear you so they can get the most out of it. And I thought his audio was great, but the video was like straight from, I'm not sure what was going on. I'm like, yo, dude, what kind of laptop you got there, man? Maybe it was I don't know. It didn't seem like, It didn't seem like it was interference. It seemed like it was the camera itself. So my recommendation is take some of that campaign money and get yourself. You're gonna be doing this digital stuff for the next 2 months. Get yourself a better camera. You know what I'm saying? Because you needed it, most def. But that's a minor point. It's minor, but you know, if you're gonna be on cam, you want people to see you nice and crisp as possible, right? And you can purchase these things for what, $100, $200, depending on what your budget is. You can go larger than that, pricier than that, but really, that's all you really got to spend. You know what I'm saying? What else last night? I think that one big difference between Fanon now and Fanon 20 years ago when he ran, and I supported the brother back then, even though you had some very loud voices in the black community back then that was running around talking about some damn Joe Dieters. You got some black folks that swear they love black folks. They doing media, blackity, black, black, black. But 20 years ago, they was running around here stumping for Joe Dieters. They need to be called out. Anyway, I think the biggest difference as I sat and listened to Fanon, and again, I was aware of it before the show, the forum last night, but as I listened to him go through his list of his resume, I thought, this dude's qualified. I mean, to me, Fanon Rucker is more qualified now to be the prosecutor than Joe Dieters was when he was running from scandal. Remember, he was running from scandal, ran down here. The only qualifications he had is that he was a white male Republican, and that's how he got the job. Remember what happened with Mike Allen, the former white male Republican prosecutor that was running around with a lampshade on his head, trying to force one of his female employees to have sex with him, and she didn't want to be bothered with his ugly ass. Remember this? I ain't making it up. That's what happened. She didn't want to be bothered with his ugly ass no more. He was married, run around trying to get some in the office, couldn't control himself. That was bad. That was real bad what happened. And the only qualifications that Jody just had, because he was leaving a scandal, running from scandal, right? Some F-ish went down, some funny business, some corruption went down in his office. He ran back down here to Cincinnati. It was very convenient. And the only qualifications he had is he was a white male Republican, period. That's it. And now he got the nerve to run around talking about Tamaya Denard. What? Negro, please, knock it off. We ain't forgot. We ain't forgot. I'll say it again. Fanon Rucker, in my opinion, is far more qualified to be the Hamilton prosecutor now than Joe Dieters was when he was running from scandal, running from corruption in his office, people being charged, people going to jail. He was lucky, ran down here and took over for another white male Republican, Mike Allen. And who in the hell made him the voice of reason? This is amazing how when black people have scandal, they marred for life in Hamilton County. When white males have scandal, it just takes a couple years and we put them on the radio. All of a sudden, you're supposed to listen to you like you're some kind of voice of reason. That's what happened. Mike Allen entered a sexual relationship while he was married with a subordinate, and she didn't want to deal with his ugly ass no more. And he tried to use the power of his office, allegedly, this is what she said, right, to try to force him to stay in a relationship, force her to stay in a relationship. That's what she said. For me, reading between the lines, I believe it. Allegedly. So he had to step down in scandal. And then another white male Republican who was running from scandal came down to Hamilton County and got a job. That's what happened. What was his qualifications? That don't happen for black folks. When black folks got scandal, man, in Ohio and Hamilton County and Cincinnati, they is marred for life. They can't never get over it. You know what I'm saying? When it happens to other folks, man, it's like, oh, we forgot. It's like some kind of morality car wash. It just, the fact that they become an elected official or get a new job sort of washes away all of their sins. Please. Not over here, buddy. Not over here, buddy. I ain't feeling it. Good morning to you. I ain't feeling it. I ain't feeling it. That's what I see. That's what I see. What do you see? 513-873-7134. So again, I'll say, I mean, as I was listening to everything that Fanon has done over the last 20 years, I mean, judge, leadership position statewide, recognized for this, recognized for that. I'm like, damn. Okay. You know, this is a different Fanon Rucker from 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? This man is far more experienced than the man who voters. And again, that was a different kind of thing. He was a write-in candidate, which is difficult as well. And like I said, you had black folks who at that point had a voice in the community run around talking about Joe Dieters because something was in it for them. People forget, but I have a very long memory. Hey, listen, are we on Facebook? Let me double check here, make sure we're on Facebook. Yeah, we on Facebook. Yeah. I'm not getting any Facebook comments coming in right now. That's why I'm not reading your comments, because those comments are not coming in right now. Hey, what's up, Sug? What's up, Shug Avery? Yeah, what's up with you? Good morning, everybody. I hit 2,000 followers on the Nathan Ivey Show page, man. I'm super pumped about it. Wait a minute, are we on Facebook? Let me double check here. I don't think that we are. So let me take care of this real quick, though. I want to be everywhere. Everywhere. I want to be everywhere. Hold on. Let me make sure I can share this. You know, it's funny because some of you might have seen me like going live from the Nathan Ivey Show page this morning. And I did. And I did that in an effort to just, I wanted to test to make sure, because I was having some issues. And there we go. So I just posted from YouTube to Facebook. So there it is. And I did, and everything was great. And then when we go live after the test, is some crazy stuff's going on. So again, like I said, family, I got some upgrades I need to make with my equipment. I'll handle all of that. I just noticed all the comments are from YouTube this morning. That's unusual. That's very unusual. It's very unusual. I don't like that. I'm not happy about that at all. These are minor details. I'm supposed to be on. Oh no, the show goes on. We'll fix it later. Good morning to you. Let me say very, very early in the week, I want to remind you, the Is It Just Me podcast with Donnie B, Fridays at 12:30. She's about to start talking with a lot of the people who are running for judgeships, the judicial candidates. And as a lawyer, I think she has a very unique perspective. And I'll make sure you put the word out there so people know who's coming on and when they're coming on. And you can check out her show, the Is It Just Me podcast, live on Facebook, Send Digital Media page, and the Is It Just Me podcast group as well. Also, the Dope Chicks Collective every Sunday at 1 p.m. You can check out that podcast as well, live on Send Digital Media, and you can check it out. We're going to put that inside the Dope Chicks Collective group as well. Good morning to you. And more podcasts. I'll announce as we get ready to, but more podcasts to come. Like I said, I sit around every day, want to have free time because, with my son being in school at home and my wife working from home, it's a juggling act. And to that point, I've got to leave the show early this morning. I got to leave at about, I think I need to leave about 9:25 because my wife is going to be tied up on Zoom calls and my son is going to be in class. So unfortunately, it's going to cut the show short a little bit. It is what it is. I'm a working dad. That's what it is. We in the same boat together. All right. Good morning to you. But what are your brutally honest thoughts about the forum last night? What are your thoughts about it? What do you think? What did you think? Do you agree with some of my observations? I think it's a real opportunity. I'll say it again. And I think there's a clear difference once again, like Hamilton County Sheriff's race, clear difference. Let me see here. Hamilton County Clerk of Courts, clear difference. Just a clear difference. Hamilton County Prosecutor, clear difference. Clear difference. It ain't even close in any of those races, in my humble opinion, in terms of what I believe you're going to get from the candidates. I think it's night and day. I think in each one of those races, the difference is, now that I think about it, the old way of doing things, the same old good old boy network, or something new, something progressive, something that's more in line with the community and what the community is saying they want. I think in all three of those races I mentioned, that's what the clear-cut choice is. And like I said, with Trump at the top of the ticket, Trump at the top of the ticket, Democrats got a shot. They got a real shot. Because all the energy around me is, we got to get this guy out the White House. Now, you can agree or disagree with that mentality. I know there's a lot of debate about that. But all the energy around me, All the people I know, all the people in my family I rock with, they energized about the upcoming election. Trump has polarized the hell out of them. Polarized and energized at the same time. And they are determined. And that's why you see Trump run around talking about the Postal Service. And now he's back probably working with the Russians again. I don't put it past him. Because Trump has to resort to tricks. That's why they run around talking about Antifa. That's why these Hamilton County Republican candidates are running around talking about people's safety reimagined. They just love to talk about it. People's safety reimagined. You know why? Because it's all about fear mongering. Because on the substance of the issues, they lose. On the substance of the issue, they lose. So they got to resort to fear mongering. They want to scare the suburbanites to the vote, to the polls. You better get out there or they going to defund the police. Rucker told you last night he's not for defunding the police. You know what I'm saying? They're going to take away your police department. And then these black and brown children going to come in there and steal everything you ever earned. Because that's all they can do is fear monger. When people don't have substance, they resort to tricks. They want to change the conversation and they want to scare you. And that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to scare people. They want to scare the vote. People's reimagined. We talking about people's reimagined. Same thing with Andy Black. Who cares? They're not relevant in 2020. Why are you running for Hamilton County Commissioner, Andy Black? And you talking about an issue that's a dead issue. I'll tell you why. Because on the substance, he loses. He loses. So let me scare people. Alicia Reese should answer the question about some ish that don't even matter and won't be on the ballot in 2020. Huh? What? You got to go back and listen to my Andy Black flow some day or so ago. I kept it straight real with you. Run around here with this dumb ish. What a waste of time, Andy. You wasted your time without op-ed in the Inquirer, bro. I'll say it again. People safety reimagined. I'm not saying it's not worthy of deeper conversation on some levels, but they didn't get the necessary signatures to be on the ballot in November. So who gives a damn at this point? We'll holler at you next election cycle. Period. It's a wrap. But again, it's a way for Andy Black and the Hamilton County Republicans to scare you into the vote. We're going to scare you. You better vote, because you don't vote, oh, these Democrats are going to take away your police department. Really? I don't believe it. I don't believe it one bit. Not one bit. Good morning to you. Ray is on YouTube. She writes Grand Risings all. Kendall writes good morning. Samantha writes good morning all. Deshauna writes, good morning, Nathan, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Well, thank you. Same to you. Fame Rothstein Sports Investing Show. I like it. He writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I thought I was live, but something happened with the stream. So yeah, I am live, just on YouTube at this point. I'm not happy about it. That's the wifey asking me if we're on live. You know, she's the first producer of the show. She's the first producer of the show, first and last producer of the show. She has stopped me from making some terrible mistakes. Some of the ideas I've had, I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. She's like, think about it. Is it really? Well, maybe not. Jared writes, good morning, hashtag team and I. Eddie Murphy wore a dress as Big Mama, LOL, right. That's the cover story for today. The cover story for today, hold on, let me see if I can to get us on the Nathan Ivey Show, because I'm just very disappointed about that. I really am. I'm very disappointed. The audience on Facebook is growing every single day. Every single day. I really appreciate your support as we build independent black media in the city of Cincinnati and beyond. So maybe that puts us on right now. I'm not sure. But what I'll do is I'll circle back around and I'll post it afterward. It's not the same experience, but you know, it's where we are right now. But today's cover story, Tyler Perry made $1 billion wearing a dress. It's being reported by Forbes magazine that Tyler Perry has made over $1 billion. This is pre-tax income. So maybe not really $1 billion, but he made like $1.4 billion over since 2005. And in my opinion, he was able to make that money because of the Medea character. Like Medea is what he's known most for. Medea probably has been his bread and butter, right? Because that's how he started. He started doing Medea way back when he was doing stage shows and plays. That's how it all started. And the Medea character was big on the chitlin circuit. Black folks loved it. They loved seeing this black man dressed up portraying a black woman. They loved it. They can't get enough of it. And there's many of you that love it. I ain't hating on you. I'm just saying. At the same time, I'm telling you, there's been a conversation in the community for years about Tyler Perry and Medea. There are comics doing interviews in which they asked about, and they talk about Hollywood trying to cast them in a role in which they was going to wear a dress. That's like a big critique for whatever reason. But my thing is, well, damn, it seemed to work for Tyler. It seemed to work for Tyler. You know, Tyler was able to leverage the Medea character into $1 billion brand. Like, everybody loves the fact that Tyler Perry is, you know, has the Tyler Perry Studios. But for me, Tyler Perry Studios wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for the Medea character. They go hand in hand. That was like his #1 brand right there. Right? That was his #1 brand. Somebody writes Dave Chappelle. Man, Dave Chappelle, TK Kirkland, is that what his name is? Lots of comments. I've seen him do interviews on these YouTube channels and other places talking about how I never wear a dress. Okay, I mean, I get it. I understand why. I am concerned about the images of black men in particular coming out of Hollywood, the over-feminization of it, non-heterosexual characters, black male characters in action movies acting like simps, acting like weaklings. You know what I'm saying? I'm hypersensitive to it. I've been observing it for years, talking about it for years with cultural critics, movie critics, and things like that. You already know that. I'm hip to the game. But what's the moral of Tyler Perry? What's the moral of Tyler Perry? Crystal writes, Dave Chappelle said, to hell with that dress thing. I appreciate him for that. Okay, I appreciate it too. But while we appreciate that, everybody appreciates what Tyler Perry has been able to do. So what's the moral of the story? Do the ends justify the means is what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we could take this conversation. Hey, Drop, hold on 1 second, brother. I'll bring you straight on. We could take this conversation and take it to the world of hip hop. You know, we could take it to these female rappers. We was just talking about WAP. You know what I'm saying? We was just talking about Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B, and why do black female rappers or female rappers always have to sell sexuality and talk about who they're going to sleep with? And then there was some people saying, no, wait a minute. This is about money. So they got to sell that sex on records and rap on lyrics, but they're able to build a multi-billion dollar or multi-million dollar brand. It was some people doing that conversation like, hey, do what you got to do. So do the ends justify the means? What's the moral of the story, family? You know what I'm saying? Would you, let's say you got a son that wants to be a comedian. He wants to be a comic. He comes up with this idea of coming up with a female character, right? He gonna wear a wig. He gonna wear a dress. There's a whole bunch of YouTube dudes, man, with big audiences that have these female characters, right? Where they portray their mama or their grandmama, their auntie or something like that. Like, you know, a knockoff, you know what I'm saying, a poor man's version of Medea. And they take off. So do the ends justify the means? If at the end of the day, you're able to build $1 billion and start your own studio and do this and do that, and now you can open doors for other black creatives. If you got to do that by wearing a dress, is it all worth it? You tell me. 513-873-7134. I'd love to hear your thoughts this morning. You tell me. You tell me. I hear a Drop emulating me. So you tell me. I can hear him in the background. now he's laughing. You think that's funny, Drop? You think that's funny?
You are hilarious, Mr.
Hold on, let me bring Drop on. Let me bring him on. Hold on 1 second, brother. Yeah. Okay, Drop, you're on the line, man. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey, and all the beautiful people that listen to the new and improved Nathan Ivey Show.
Oh, we doing improved now?
You are, man, Mr. Ivey, like I told you, sir, I've been following you for a minute. and I'm watching the progression. You're going through your ups and downs, but your trajectory is on the up.
I
You
agree.
just keep doing what you're doing, sir.
Almost that.
And you know my saying. You know my motto. It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Ivey, I would like to ask you a question. You brought this person up earlier in your monologue.
Okay.
And it's about the Breonna Taylor case.
Okay.
And if you remember, you had a show a couple of weeks ago, and the title was "Leaked Police Memo Gives New Details on the Breonna Taylor Shooting."
Right.
And that particular show, almost 2 hours, you got 215 views. That's one of your highest rated shows since you've been going strong on YouTube. 215
or 2,500?
From what I'm looking at, it says 215.
Oh, you mean on YouTube? Yeah, on YouTube. You're right. Yeah. That was
right.
The most popular show on YouTube so far. You're right.
Right. And I would just like to ask you if you've done a follow-up on the so-called leaked memos that came out of Louisville. Have you done a follow-up on that?
Well, what do you mean by follow-up? I mean, I'm staying up on the latest information. I know there's a streaming documentary that I haven't completed, but I know there's some new details in that. What am I missing? What's going on?
Okay, well, Brandon Tatum, who is a former, I think, San Antonio police officer, and he's one of the new up-and-coming Black Not Democrats. He was at the White House. But he released the entire investigative report, in which you only read a portion of it. Mm-hmm. Now, on September 7th, Mr. Ivey.
You mean Officer Tatum? Yeah, I know you're talking about. He's got a big following out there, man. He's one of these pro-Trumpsters.
He's huge. Now, see, again, Mr. Ivey, that's not what I called about, to talk about Black Not Democrat. But, Mr. Ivey, in the latest poll, Trump's almost over 25%. So that's not what I'm talking about.
Almost 25, over 25% in what?
In approval in the Black community.
Really?
In the NBC Mayor's poll, I think that's the latest one that came out. If you look at the internals, Mr. Ivey, Trump keeps going up and up in the Black community.
Is that right?
Mr. Ivey, Trump's verified, sir.
I'm verified right now.
It's the truth, and you know it because of people like Brandon Tatum, I think he has over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and I'm not sure how many he has on other social media platforms, but he does have credibility because he's a former police officer. But he released the entire investigative report from the officials in Louisville. And I don't know if you know this, but Breonna Taylor was under investigation for, I think, since 2016. And what you read on your show a couple of weeks ago, I think it was September the 1st, I think, you did not read the entire report. And like I told you on that show, when I engaged you on that show, they have full transcripts of some of the conversations, Mr. Ivey, that these fools were making while they were locked up. And I sent it to you on September 7th. I sent it. It's 3 parts that all of them are from the Brandon Tatum report, but it's from another YouTuber. And he put out 3 parts to this entire thing. Now, I posted it on your timeline on Twitter. So, but I think you may need to revisit this case, Mr. Ivey, because from what I saw, from what I read, Breonna Taylor was deep in the dope game. Now, maybe when she got shot on that raid, which there were actually 3 simultaneous raids that were conducted that night, only 2 were executed. The 3rd one was not executed because of the murder that took place in Breonna Taylor's apartment. When her boyfriend shot at the police and then hid behind her when the bullets start flying. But I can resend it to you, but Mr. Ivey, you got to see it for yourself. This guy on YouTube, he did a great job. He just took the report from Brandon Tatum and he actually read some of these transcripts from these idiots talking in jail. You talking about snitches. I mean, these fools, it was like, don't you know that the calls are being monitored? But apparently their lawyers didn't inform them correctly. But Mr. Ivey, maybe this could be for another show, but you need to do a follow-up to that show.
I will.
One of your highest rated shows on YouTube since you've been coming strong on YouTube.
Wow.
And I can read, I'm telling you, Mr. Ivey, when you read these transcripts, again, she did not deserve to die. Let me just say that up front. She did not deserve to die. But when you read these transcripts, Mr. Ivey, of these actual phone calls from these people involved who were scooped up in those simultaneous raids that happened on that night, and a lot of the false information that was put out by the police, well, not by the police, that was put out by the mainstream media and their willing accomplice, the Democrat Party, or should I say that in reverse, the Democrat Party and their willing accomplice in the mainstream media. Some of the false narratives that came out when that case hit hit the culture. Because if you remember, the Breonna case took place before George Floyd was murdered. And then once that started, Breonna Taylor was also mentioned, where her case was brought up again. Because at the time, it was deemed a legitimate case because she was deeply involved in the drug game in Louisville, Kentucky. So I just wanted to put that out there because there's still a lot of misinformation.
So what information?
Again,
you haven't you kind of gave us you gave us an abstract, but you haven't given us any specifics. So what evidence did Officer Tatum, who I don't really respect the brother, I'm gonna be honest with you, from what I'm aware
of, or don't?
I don't respect him.
You don't?
I do not respect him. No,
because he's not a Democrat.
No, it's because I just don't respect his viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? I think he's like a male version of Candace Owens. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's fair.
He's a black person that wants to do that Trumpity Trump, pro-police stuff because it's going to affect his pockets. You know what I'm saying? He's doing it for clout. I think it's clout chasing.
Yeah, I get you. But that doesn't apply. That doesn't apply in this case.
Okay, so can you give us some specifics as to, you said that Breonna Taylor was deeply involved in a drug gang. So what did you read?
Yes.
What evidence did you read that would support that statement?
Well, okay. First of all, let me, because it all started in 2016 when this supposed doughboy was shot while he was driving his car, and when the investigation started, they do the normal police work, and they found out that the car that this murder victim was in was rented by Breonna Taylor. And this was in 2016. And that's when the case started. Okay, so again, I'm just saying, Mr. Ivey, I can read you something real quick.
Please.
But see, I'm not as technically savvy as you, Mr. Ivey. So I don't know if I do this, it's going to happen right. But
okay,
I'm going to try real quick. I'm going to just try if I can get it right at the right moment. Okay, just here's one right here. It says February the 4th, 2020, PBI detectives applied for a second GPS tracking device on the red 2017 Dodge Charger because the first warrant was expired. Now, the Dodge Charger was driven by Breonna Taylor's co-defendant in the drug investigation. At this point, the investigation, PBI detectives learned via GPS tracker that the red 2017 Dodge Charger had made a trip to Biloxi, Mississippi, where Jamarcus Glover, that was Breonna's co-defendant, once resided and has had ticks of narcotics trafficking with
co-defendant. Was she charged with something?
Well, that's why the warrants were served.
Okay.
This was the culmination of the investigation, and the warrants, like I said, there were 3 simultaneous warrants at the same time. Now, I can read you one more. This one from February 2nd in 2020. The PBI team had Louisville Metropolitan Police Department technicians install a pole camera at the intersection of 24th Street and Elliott Avenue facing west. Within an hour of the pole camera being installed, PBI detectives witnessed approximately 15 to 20 vehicles go to the 2024 Elliott Avenue address for a short period of time, where is indicative of drug trafficking.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's just a couple of entries that I'm reading from without actually playing the actual audio of the guy whose YouTube channel this comes from.
Okay, I feel you.
Basically,
I need to read it for myself.
That's what I'm saying, Mr. Ivey. You're the professional guy here. And like I told you, there's 3 parts. All of it are these are the actual investigative reports. Now, this is just local, Mr. Ivey, state and local. This is not even the feds yet. So again, and there was on the show, the show from September 1st, you mentioned that, just because somebody does this, that doesn't mean anything. But at the time, Mr. Ivey, you kind of had the report out of context, the so-called leak. But all 3 parts are on your timeline. I can resend it if you want me to. But you have to dig into this, Mr. Ivey, because not very many people are talking about this. But again, I say, she did not deserve to die. And maybe she was trying to get out of the game. But Mr. Ivey, from 2016, when they started this investigation, Breonna Taylor was deep in the game. And maybe she was being used by her boyfriend. We don't know. But again, she did not deserve to die. And it's a reason that nothing's happening in this case as far as prosecuting these officers.
Okay. Well, like you said, I do need to check it out, man. I'll trust but verify. Yeah, I'll trust but verify.
Oh, Mr. Ivey, I'm telling you, because your skills and your ability, your raconteur skills to tell a story, Mr. Ivey, this is right up your alley.
Okay.
Because when you read some of this stuff that these defendants were saying in jail, Mr. Ivey, on a jail phone. But again, that's all I got, sir. And you keep doing your thing, Mr. Ivey, because it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Drop Squad 52, dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it. Peace.
Appreciate the call, man. Yeah, I'll check it out. All of that to say, I'll check it out. I should have left it right there. It seems like there's some people out there trying real hard to throw dirt on this woman's name, who's dead, by the way. You got allegedly prosecutors are offering, plea deals, time off, a lesser sentence. We'll go light on you as long as you throw dirt on a dead woman's name. She's dead. She can't go to jail. So why would law enforcement, prosecutors, whoever down in Louisville be trying to offer people a plea deal to give dirt on a dead woman? It's simple. Because if they can make Breonna Taylor a criminal, if they can play up everything that she was involved in, then it'll let the officers off, period. She's dead. It's not like she can go to jail. It's not like she was the ringleader, right? Even if she was involved, it was probably on a minor level and she wasn't the ringleader. So why would, if in fact you believe this, it was reported within the last couple of weeks that prosecutors have offered a lighter sentence if her boyfriend, associate, friend, whatever she was to this dude, named her as an accomplice in a criminal enterprise. Now, why would they do that? And she's dead. It's not like she can be held accountable. They think she's the El Chapo of Louisville drug trade. No, it's simply because she's dead. And a lot of people are looking at the Louisville Police Department and they want to hold them responsible. But if they can make her out to be a criminal, the way that we have been thought to think about people that deal in the drug trade, which I think is wrong, they got us conditioned to believe that if you sell drugs, then you are the worst thing in the world. Meanwhile, you got people that buy drugs over the counter that's just as addictive, just as destructive. You can go buy out. The worst drug in the world is alcohol. It's legal. The worst drug in terms of the cost, The human cost is alcohol. There was a study done about 5 years ago, like with some Doogie Housers, aka smart doctors and scientists. They wanted to see which was the worst drug in terms of the effects on the human body and the effects to our society. You know what they found? It wasn't marijuana. It wasn't heroin. Wasn't that dog. It was alcohol, and it's legal. Meanwhile, you got cats out here running around offering no-knock warrants to get a low-level drug dealer off of the streets. He's not El Chapo. The whole way we think about the so-called war on drugs is a problem for me. The way we think about it, the way we prosecute it, it's all a problem. It's all a problem for me. Like I said, for some people, it's like, oh, they had drugs. Okay, and oh, you're the worst thing. They should put you under the jail, and then you go get your legal prescriptions and go get legally drugged up. Well, the drugs are killing people. Legal drugs kill people, but that's okay because it's legal. The worst thing about the illegal drug trade, the most dangerous thing about it is the fact that it's illegal. That's what makes it dangerous. That's what makes it dangerous in terms of what's in the product and the transaction of getting the product is because it's illegal. That's what makes it so dangerous. So I don't even care. I don't care if she was the queen pin. You know what I'm saying? She could be the godmother of Louisville. I still don't think they should have no-knock warrants. It's still not worth putting human life on the line for some drugs. I'm sorry. That's just how I look at it. Now, I know other people are conditioned to believe otherwise, especially black folks, like, oh, well, you shouldn't be selling drugs. You can buy drugs right now. I can leave my home after this show and go buy some drugs. It's going to be far worse on my body than anything else out there. Nobody's going to say a word about it because it's a legal transaction. 66LTUV writes, Nate, there have been some white high-profile actors that have worn dresses in movies, too. I don't think it's just about black men putting a dress. Robin Williams, Dustin Hoffman, and Patrick Swayze. Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire. Dustin Hoffman played, what was that? Was back in the 80s, right? I forget the name of the movie. Was it Tootsie or something like that? Patrick Swayze, what is that? Tu Wong Fu with Love? Him and some other dudes wearing a dress? I know. But I'm talking about the conversation I've heard about black men in particular. I'm talking about Tyler Perry in particular. And my question is real simple. I mean, seems like Tyler was right. I mean, for years, people would come to the show and talk about how they didn't like Madea and it was bringing down the image of the black man. But then them same people will turn around and applaud Tyler Perry because he made Tyler Perry Studios. Well, wait a minute. That's a contradiction. He has the studio because he built a brand off of Madea. That's $1 billion brand that Madea made. So what I'm trying to get at is, have we been thinking about this wrong? Or was Tyler Perry just smarter than some of these other black comics that wore dresses and didn't know how to leverage into something that was bigger for themselves? I think the story of Tyler Perry is ownership. Like he is the majority owner in everything that he does. And he got some shows on, I don't think that shit, he got some shows on television supposed to be comedies. And I watched it, I'm like, this ain't even funny. So he found his niche. It wasn't me. Like he does have some movies that I've liked. I'm not one of these people that 100% just disavows and criticizes Tyler Perry. I never have been. There's things that he's done I like. There's things he's done I don't like. You know what I'm saying? I'm not super fond of the Madea character. That's not like, oh, Boo 3's coming out. I got to go watch it. And Tyler's not even doing it no more. He's sick of Madea as well. He did an interview with, I think it was a black female on Sirius Radio. I got it for you here. Check this out.
Now, you mentioned Madea being retired. What does that mean? I'm confused by that whole idea of Madea retiring. Madea doesn't retire, darling. Madea doesn't die. She's like a gremlin. She's always going to be around.
No, it's time for me to kill that old bitch. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. No, she's I'm doing one last tour in the 2019, the farewell tour, and the last movie is Medea's funeral that I shot 2 years ago. So we're gonna say goodbye to her.
It's been in the camp for 2 years?
Yeah, I didn't want to go from Boo to Boo 2 to another Madea, right. So I put Acrimony in front of, which I love that movie, man. And then I wanted to do this one and then drop that one. So
wow. Yeah. So no more Madea. 2019 we won't.
We're gonna say goodbye at 19. I just don't want to be her age playing her.
Right, that's true.
Yeah. Come on, there's more there.
But you're going to do the stage play. You said you're going to go on tour.
Farewell tour, yeah.
And are you actually going to be going on tour?
Oh yeah. Me, Brown, Cora, all of the originals. We're going to go out there and do it again. Had Bam, yeah, we'll all be out there.
You are one of the hardest working people in show business, baby. Because for you to go on tour, a stage play, that takes a lot out of you.
Takes a lot out of you.
Would you ever do Broadway? Because you like to be a damn boss. It got to be all Tyler Perry production.
No. My thing on Broadway is this: you got to do the exact same thing every night, the exact same way. I can't. That wouldn't work for me. I'll piss off all the producers because I'd be like, "Look, we finna do something different right now." No, they want strict, regimented. Do it this way and only this way.
Well, you know what though? You know you have always been a rule breaker, and you've always done things your way.
Yeah.
So I would hazard a guess that you could probably come to Broadway and turn it on its ear as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. We'll see.
Yeah, it's Tyler Perry. He did an interview with it's a black female host on Sirius Radio back in 2019. So what I get from it was Madea served her purpose. She served her purpose. So now he's on to bigger and better things with Tyler Perry Studios, which every time I see images, man, it's inspiring for any creative person, right? To see this what this black man built, who came from very humble beginnings. If I remember correctly, abuse in his background, and was able to manifest it into something that is potentially something that, you know, he can share to help build with other black creatives and creative people as well, which, you know, I think if you're in that business, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So no more Madea. She served her purpose. Now he's moved on. I'm happy for Tyler. I'm happy for Tyler because from the outside looking in, it appears that two things. He runs his ish. I saw an interview where somebody was, I forget who it was. It was a black female. I think it was Monique. And I think she said she met with Tyler and she went to his studio and it was like this huge studio. It was like, you know, all these people working. He got all these people working for him. And he said that Tyler was like, and everybody just left. Like he already got them conditioned. Like, hey, when you hear me clap, you roll out. Like, could you imagine sitting down with somebody and they got all these people working and being busy in and out, and he goes, and they just like walk out the room. Like, look, y'all, look, when you hear me clap, you roll out. I think that was Monique. Let's go back to the phones. I'm only with you for another 15 minutes. The reason why is I've got to end the show at 9:30 this morning because I'm a working dad. My mother is my children's mother is a working mom. We're working from home. And my wife has Zoom business to take care of, and my son is in school. He's a kindergartner, and he cannot get on and off and do all the stuff by himself, so daddy's got to help him. And my children are the most important thing in my life, so it's going to impact the show this morning. So let me just say good morning and welcome to the show.
Hello, Nathan. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Fame. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The Tyler Perry issue is a little bit of a conundrum because, I mean, his movies, I mean, I'm like you, I can't remember any one of those that I like. I mean, I might have giggled throughout, you know, not the whole thing, but at parts, but I don't like any of them. I'll be the first to admit I was one of his critics. You know, he's got $1 billion now. Everybody's got a price. I don't care what nobody say. You know, people can say that, you know, I would never wear a dress, blah, blah, blah. Your ass got a price. Just like Martin and Eddie and everybody else had too. And if I knew that at the end game, he made that $1 billion rather quickly too, wasn't it? Like 10, 15 years?
Since 2005, they reported.
Yeah, so we're talking 15 years. If I knew that in the 15 years, I'd be worth $1 billion. There's not much. I don't know. There's not much I probably wouldn't do because I know my family is going to eat for generations and generation. You know, but at the same time, Tyler Perry has not put no. He's done it all himself. Like he's telling these women's stories. He has no female writers.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of those scripts, he writes, develops it's all him.
Right.
And you know, he's supposed to enjoy the fruits of his labor, but he's never put anybody on. You see what I'm saying? So it is a conundrum, but I guess at the end of the day, you know, and him being in the lifestyle that he is, he has those generations after him. unless he adopts. But I digress. Yeah, so I mean, if his family's taken care of, I guess, you know, $1 billion that's quite a bit to sneeze at. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to, you know, hold on to some foolish pride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so I just, yeah, I ain't mad at him. You know, I'll salute him. I'm not a fan. I'll salute him. But then again, put some people on now. If you're not doing that, then you played us all. Told us the same thing 200 times.
Uh-huh.
You know, that corny Southern story. You know what I'm saying?
You said a corny Southern story.
That corny Southern rural black story. That's what it's all about. With all of his projects.
Well, not all of them. Not all of them. I mean, he's done some stuff.
I mean, obviously not all of them.
You mean all the Medea projects?
All the overwhelming majority of the stuff that's made him famous. Medea, the show on TBS or whatever it was. Well, you know, with the little fat bald dude and his wife.
What was that? Meet the Browns or something like that?
Yeah, it's one of those shows. You know, rural blacks in the South. You know, all right, I get it. That's what you know. I get it. You know, but then again, I mean, you know, he could be worth $1 billion, or he could be like Spike Lee trying to keep it real and going on crowdfunding sources for loot. You know what I'm saying? Having to reach out to athletes, Michael and Magic. You know, can I borrow $1 million? The studio won't, you know, help me out. So it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just kind of one of those things with him. It just depends on what you like. And I don't like his stuff.
Uh-huh.
And now, since I don't like it, you've required this wealth, put people on. You got this big old studio. You don't have any black female writers, but the overwhelming majority of your projects are, you know, have some kind of black female scope to them. You see what I'm saying? So
mm-hmm.
I don't rock with dude, but salute to him. But yeah, man, that's all I got, B. I had some bars. I'm gonna give them to you tomorrow, since you gotta go. I had some. Remember I told you the dude act like he came to battle Tab?
Yeah.
Whatever his name. What was his name?
Alex Glandorf.
What's his name?
Alex Glandorf.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I had some bars written from his perspective. I'll give it to you since you got to go. I'll give it to you another day.
All right, cool. I want to hear it. Take it easy. All right. So Alex Glandorf has bars? Really? That's quite interesting. I'm on Wikipedia. Take it for what it is. You know, some people say Wikipedia is more of a source, a credible source than others, but everybody seems to go there. I'm not surprised to read that Tyler Perry is a Virgo. Not surprised to read that. Some of the biggest entertainers that this world has ever seen have been Virgos. There's a reason why. Because Virgos are the most superlative astrological sign. I don't give a damn across the board. It is what it is. And I am the most superlative Virgo on the planet. And Tyler is a close second. He's a close second. I give him his props. He was born on my little brother's birthday. That's right. My mother gave birth to 2 Virgos. God blessed her to bring 2 Virgos into this world. And now the world is blessed. My little brother was born on September 13th. My actual birthday is coming up. Is it next week? Yeah, buddy. A week from today, as a matter of fact. Shout out to my Virgos out there. The best thing you could do is have a Virgo in your life. The best thing you could do. Beyonce, Michael Jackson. I can start right there. Nathan Ivey, Tyler Perry. Just put us on Mount Rushmore. Let's put us on Mount Rushmore. Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Nathan Ivey, Tyler Perry. I think it's got a ring to it. That's the Mount Rushmore of Virgo entertainers. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we take Michael Jackson off because he's not with us anymore. So Beyonce, Tyler Perry, Nathan Ivey. It's got a ring to it. It's got a ring to it. But, you know, there's a couple things as I'm looking at. I mean, Tyler has done some things. I like the whole, he had a 2-part, like, I don't know, it was a series. He had 2 movies called Why Did I Get Married? I thought those were dope. Daddy's Little Girls, I like that. I thought that was a positive black man sort of, story with that. This brother was struggling, working guy, blue collar guy, dealing with a bunch of dumb stuff, as too many men have to deal with. We don't talk about it enough. Taking care of his children, holding things down. I've never been a big fan of the Madea. That's just not my thing. I didn't really care about Miss Doubtfire. I'm not into that. I'm not into it. I mean, it would have to be a hella good plot for me to sit and watch it and get into it, because it's just a part of me that just don't want to watch it. I'm not hating on it. I know people love Madea. She went to jail. She bought the kids some Halloween candy. She went to Mars and came back. That's just not my thing. Have I watched any type of Madea movies? I can't get through them. I could never get through them. And that's just me, because obviously somebody likes him because he's worth $1 billion now. The Family That Prays Together, I thought that was cool. I watched that. They had a couple movies I like. But my favorites are probably Why Did I Get Married? Why Did I Get Married To? Because, at that point, I think I was newly married. I had been married maybe 8, 9 years at that point. So as a married black couple, you're watching this movie with married black couples. You get into that kind of stuff, right? I think we went to go see it with some of our married black couple friends at that point. We talked about it afterward. And, as a couple, when you see movies like that, it gives you something to talk about. So I'm not issuing on Tyler. Like I said, to me, I think, what was the word he used? Conundrum. It is. I appreciate fame keeping it real, because there have been a lot of big critics of Tyler Perry who now will applaud his success. Well, he made that with the Madea character. So again, I'll leave you with this as I end the show. Do the ends justify the means? You got to wear a dress to make $1 million to start a studio. Maybe that opens a door for your family, generational wealth. Maybe you can create things for other people. Is it worth it? You are a female rapper. Sex sells. So you make a whole WAP album. That's all you do is talk about WAP, right? Yeah, you get criticized, but people keep buying it. You're able to build generational wealth. Maybe you build and create your own, studio platform. You start opening doors for other people. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? You tell me. You tell me. Look at Ice Cube. I mean, let's think. Ice Cube goes back to NWA. People would say, if they was making that music today, man, that'd be Public Enemy #1. Public Enemy #1. How dare you? This is wrong. What are you teaching our kids? All that kind of stuff. He was able to leverage it and bankroll it. I think it really depends on the individual. It depends on who you are, what your plan is, and what you do with it. Because there's a lot of dudes out there that wore a dress and we ain't never heard from them. They ain't built no studio. But Tyler was able to do that because he had a vision and he stuck to his vision. So I say props to him. It is what it is. That's my time, family. Again, I got to go be a dad. That's my #1 job. I'm a father and a husband. And my wife is... she's working today from home, and my son is a kindergartner in CPS, and he's got virtual learning, and daddy's got to help him, and I'm glad to do it. So I'll be back with you, and hopefully we won't have any technical issues as we did today. And the show I thought was going to be on Facebook. I expected to be on Facebook, but we were not. So I'm going to upload the video directly to the Nathan Ivey Show page. Hey, family, even though you might have watched today's show, please share it. Please share it, because I want to make sure I get my views up. I want to make sure I get my likes up for that page. It means everything. And keep your eyes on Sin Digital Media. My own personal health, COVID-19 slowed things down a bit, but I'm back on my JOB and in the works of producing and amplifying more Black voices in the greater Cincinnati area. And perhaps you can play a part as well. All right. I'll leave you with that. Thank you for being here. Have an excellent rest of your day. Check out the forum tonight. We'll be talking about talking to the Hamilton County Treasurer, 2 candidates, Jill Schiller and also Charlie Winburn. Looking forward to that. Of course, it's going to be presented by the Prince Hall Masons and the Cincinnati NAACP. And I will be your moderator. All right. And then after that, I can get back to a regular schedule. I know I got a lot of folks to call back and connections to make. So have an excellent rest of your day. And we'll talk real soon. I'm Nathan Ivey.